everybody? It is Woodhouse, and I'm sorry for the nice little clutter of sound enabled and disabled. I was getting ready to try and figure out how to get everything going. But I am bringing you the first Heart of the Swarm cast from the Woodhouse, or for the Woodhouse channel. Oh my god, I'm just having a horrible time today. And I figured I would start off with somebody we all know and love, and that is starting down here in the bottom left-hand corner of NeoPlanet LE. This is White Raw. And his opponent spawning up here in the top right-hand corner, spawning as the purple Zerg pieces, or the blue Zerg pieces, I guess it is. We have MYMLeslie. And everybody is chatting it up in here. White Raw placing down his first pylon here at 10. And just to give you guys some heads up while there's not that much going on here, Leslie with the extractor trick, I'm going to try and get some more content out for you guys just as a whole. As at the moment, my funding in my lab ran out, so I am just kind of chilling, waiting for some people to get back to me about some jobs. So in that meantime, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys some more content as per usual, all that fun stuff. That can all be found on YouTube, and then look up Woodhouse SC2. So we just see both of these players going for the normal stuff. White Raw going to go ahead and do something kind of fancy. And by kind of fancy, I mean special tactics. Spawning pool coming down now for Leslie. Leslie was still no expansion. White Raw, I'm wondering if this is going to be gateway first. That is something that, A, they were talking about earlier in this game, and B, White Raw is very, very well known for. So we're going to go ahead and just, we're going to enable music too, so you guys don't have to just listen to the sound of my awful voice. White Raw going to go ahead, and it looks like it's going to be the 18 Nexus. So White Raw, very, very ballsy. I know if I tried this on the ladder, I would find some way to mess this up. I would find some way to mess it all up. And we do see the expansion coming out of Leslie as well. White Raw, is he going to go for the Forge or a Gateway first? And it is a Forge. So he's going to be really safe after that Nexus first. And Leslie just going to continue to do all the normal stuff. Still has not taken a Geyser on either base. I'm wondering if he's going to go ahead and take it down here, or if he's going to go ahead and take him up here. I've had comments from Zerg players in the past that the whole mind games thing comes into effect, and still a little bit of talking going on down here. And you know, they say a lot that, you know, casters sometimes do not emphasize enough the importance of where these geysers are taken or at what time, due to you know, how it affects how players play the match out. Personally, to be honest with you, I'm not familiar enough with those timings to be able to tell you definitively, oh my god, here he's going to be able to do this or that. But White Raw going to go ahead and drop the double gas. So he does drop the double gas, does throw down a cannon down here to be safe, and the natural Nexus is just about done. Supply right now very even for both players. Leslie hopping up to a third base, and some more talking coming out of both of these players. And White Raw looking pretty good right now. White Raw could use another pylon somewhere here. And he does decide to wall off that way. So actually, notice how this plays out. This is one of the few things that I will try and... Come on, little replay. There we go. One of the few things I will try and comment on as a Protoss player, and that is, you know, look at how not tight that is, but that is still a good wall off for White Raw. There's a lot of health between all of those buildings to allow that cannon to do its job. It's going to go ahead and destroy that indestructible plate. Don't know that that's necessary right now, but we still see no gas coming out of Leslie. One thing this would lead me to believe is that he's here. I'm going to assume he. Leslie, I'm sorry if you are in fact a woman. I would assume right now that Leslie's going to go for the standard mutaplay that's becoming like more and more prevalent as Heart of the Swarm gets on its feet. Now, mind you, it is May at the time of this. Heart of the Swarm was released in March. So, I mean, like, the meta is still fairly young. Look at that creep going off the side there. The meta is still fairly young for Heart of the Swarm. Warp Gate's on the way now for White Raw. Fully saturated on both those geysers. So White Raw now actually doing all the stuff that you would expect out of a Protoss player at this point in the game. He's gonna try and get some kills, try not to take any hull damage on the Stalker. White Raw, you need to micro White Raw. Micro! Oh, and a little bit of hull damage. Damn it, micro. And the Mothership Core coming out for Whiterot, and we do have a Zealot up here at the front trying to get some drone kills. He's going to get driven away by the Queen, but Whiterot will notice the expansion for Leslie. Going to come up here with that Stalker that did take a little bit of hull damage. Going to try and pick off the Queen. I don't know if that's going to play out very well. He's going to drag the Zealot right into the drone line and use the drones as a shield. At this point, if Whiterot can get a drone kill, which he does get actually two drone kills. That's still a plus for him because I think it's 2-0 at this point. We can check. Yeah, 2-0 in the Workers Kill tab. The Mothership Core on its way as well. Whiterot going to try and... Whiterot, you need a micro. Don't lose it, Whiterot. Okay, so we do have the gases taken down here. This is kind of... And here, I guess. Wow, how much of this have I missed? Ended up taking on his natural first. If we go ahead and look at how much is gone out of each one of those as compared to down here, where he just started them. Whiterot continuing to be completely pesky with all of this stuff. But this is kind of what I was talking about. You'll notice that if Whiterot had scouted up here, he would have seen no gas and probably would have been really, really confused. But instead, Leslie going ahead and taking 3 geysers on his second and third bases, and Whiterot going for the quick third. And I do say quick third because this is actually a relatively quick third base for most Protoss players. There are a lot of people who are scared to move out before that 10-minute mark, especially in lower leagues. I know I myself am one of them, so if I have that opportunity to get a quick third base, I'm usually worried that I'm forgetting something. Whiterot managing to keep this Stalker alive for quite some time, but he is going to lose it right here, and these 2 Zerglings are forfeit. So looking back now, let's look at the gateway count for Whiterot. He's only sitting on 4 gates on 3 bases. That worries me just a little bit, not having enough production. We do have the Observer coming out now, and this is, like I said, if he was to have scouted this a few seconds earlier, he would have seen nothing and called it. Called it, bitches. Called it. But then again, what Zerg player doesn't go Muta? So we do see the Observer coming across the map for Whiterot, and actually I'm thinking Whiterot is going to scout this. There's no detection here, and as long as Whiterot is semi-diligent about where he patrols that, he will definitely see that Spire going down, and that will allow him to go ahead and make everything all nice and pretty. And also the massive influx of Zerglings, if that didn't queue him up already, that there was going to be a lot of that stuff. Oh, the force fields. Oh, God. Losing 2 sentries, gonna lose a 3rd sentry here. Gonna probably, oh no, he's not gonna lose the cannon. Ends up warping in 3 more sentries, is going to lose 1 of them, but more Zerglings continuing to funnel through here. Oh, nice force field by Whiterot. The Nexus cannon does go down. He is gonna lose the cannon up here, but he did manage to save 2 of those sentries out of the 4 or 5 that he warped in. He does have 1 back here in the main, kind of partitioning that off. More Zerglings coming across the map, so this is kind of the awkward moment for Protoss, where you just see a mass flood of Lings, and you just say, well, shit. And Whiterot actually, yeah. Whiterot's in a pretty sour spot right now, not gonna lie. He is in a pretty sour spot. And was that a little bit of dancing out of Leslie's Lings? I'm not 100% sure, and he does get the Nexus Cannon off. But again, that DPS and the Nexus Cannon, oh my god, he completely ignored the drones there. But Whiterot doesn't have enough energy for another Nexus Cannon, so he's just going to continue to pick away at these probes. Blink on the way for Whiterot, as well as a robotics support bay. Whiterot actually going to be able to clean these Lings up, and if we take a look again at the Workers Killed tab, he's at 10, 11, maybe 12. So he gets 13. 13 to 2. That's actually quite a few lost. And in the meantime, we actually did miss some action that happened down here, but it doesn't look like Whiterot lost any probes in that exchange. You can actually go ahead and transfer 8 of those back to his natural. Leslie now is on 4 bases, and we do not, at this point, are mutas out on the map? We have 0 mutas out on the map. We have 11 Lings. 90 drones. So Leslie actually over-droned a little bit. It's alright, though. The Observer for Whiterot seeing Banelings. So Leslie going to try and do, I'm going to assume, some sort of Baneling all-in at this point. We do have +1 coming out of the Spire. The Mothership Core going to try and pick off a Queen. As we know, the damage of the Mothership Core, not its greatest asset. But that is going to be enough for Whiterot to scout those Banelings. Another cannon is going down. More Lings coming out for Leslie. And oh, Leslie pulling back. The heroic defense by Whiterot. Dropping another pylon down, going to get ready to secure his 4th. White Raw just continuing to pump units right now, realizing that he might be a little bit farther behind than he originally anticipated. First Colossus is out, though. Oh, and the Banelings! The Banelings leading the charge with the Banelings. Or using them as a ploy. I don't know what Leslie was intending to do there, but I don't think it worked. Unless the Banelings were there to literally just cause the distraction, in which case, then yeah, it worked perfectly. And White Raw actually not securing his 4th base. So this brings up an interesting point of how Protoss expand, and that is it's easier to defend this partition of the map as opposed to a straight line. We do see Leslie taking a lot of bases. White Raw is in trouble unless he pushes now, although Leslie is on nothing but Lings and a couple Corruptors. So Leslie being very, very greedy in his play here. And, oh, holy shit. Ladies and gentlemen, words cannot describe how amazing that Baneling hit was. Even though I'm a Protoss player, it kind of hurt. It hurt my soul to watch that happen. White Raw dropping down more pylons, even though he is far from pylon block. We do have a counterattack coming from White Raw up here in the top corner. More Zealots being warped in. And Leslie just going to continue to try and deal with it. Another string of Zealots coming in, but at this point, what is Leslie on? 2-2? 2 White Raws, 2-0. So yeah, those Lings are just going to win outright. White Raw is still stuck on 3 bases, though, which is sad. It makes him kind of a sad panda that pylon does get taken out. I don't think, however, White Raw realizes that either one of those bases is there, which he doesn't. Actually, White Raw only sees 4 bases. So yeah, he's probably in Frown Town right now, not too happy with what's going on here. When you see the drone transfers and such coming out from Leslie. Leslie actually also able to just use this for gas, especially if he wants to go into any sort of Broodlord play, can just kind of go from there. You see the counterattack of Ling's going to come up here, driven away by some Zealots. No hull damage on those Zealots, actually. Thankfully enough. The large swell of Ling Corruptor Ultra. This is starting to become the normal meta, and actually you see it quite a lot. And that's that your Zerg player will either go Ultra Lang or find another way to go Swarm Host. Swarm Host, actually, as we just saw in the last GSL round of 8, I believe it was Robro and... God, the name escapes me even though I watched the game live. It happened last Monday. The game was Daybreak, which is one of those maps that is very, very... I want to say friendly to the Swarm Host play. 199 to 149 the supply right now. DT's out for White Raw. White Raw is behind and taking notes from In Control. Apparently DT rushing. Although I don't know that 18 minutes is the DT rush. But with the Overseers out, that gets put to a halt. White Raw just continuing to warp in units. Still don't know that White Raw he has no idea that either one of those bases is there, so we're going to have to see what happens. Leslie, on the other hand, continuing to just macro, getting +3 attack for the Zerglings. If we go ahead and look at the fancy new upgrades tab, that's units, not upgrades. What? Upgrades. White Raw's on 3-0, level 2 flyers, level 2 armor, level 2 yada yada yada. And adrenal glands. Also up for those Lings. So we have Cracklings out on the board. Nothing too out of the ordinary actually going on in this game. This is the pretty standard game now for Protosses at this level. And for Zerg, mind you. Now, mind you, they are on even bases, or even food, or they were on even food when I started that thought and then botched it halfway through. And White Raw is just trying to secure himself some sort of an advantage. He has transitioned pretty exclusively into Zealot Archon, also pumping some Immortals to try and deal with the Ultralisks. I do think the DTs are done. I don't think there's a whole lot he can do on that one. More Banelings rolling through here. Oh, and he's going to get him. He's going to get him. He does. And the Banelings doing a number... Oh, and the Baneling sandwich coming out, but some actually nice force fields by White Raw. More Banelings coming in the other side. The Ultras coming in the front. Oh my Wow, those Immortals are just shitting on the Ultralisk parade here. White Raw might actually start to stabilize. Although I doubt it for long because of the nice mosaic of purple we have down here on the map. Some Corruptors are out, so at this point those are actually wasted Corruptors unless he opts to go for Broodlords, which he could. And White Raw with the final push realizing that he just has to deal with the reinforcing wave. And, oh, he's leaving the Immortals out in the open. Those Immortals are going to get picked to death by the Banelings and the Lings. Oh, White Raw, that was such a terrible move. Such a terrible move, White Raw. And that army does get cleaned up. The army from White Raw is in shambles. White Raw trying to secure that fourth desperately, but supply is essentially doubled. So, at this point, White Raw, I don't know that there's much you can do. The special tactics didn't work out for you so much. Ultra's going to come and push up here. White Raw desperately warping in units. Everything is on cooldown, though. The Nexus Cannon goes down, but again, I don't think it's going to be enough. Sadly, I think White Raw got outplayed in this game and is going to have to GG out here soon. I would expect one at any point. The DTs get one Ultra, get two Ultras. A couple free kills on that Ultralisk, or on those DTs. Wow, oh my god. White Raw sitting on 3-1-1, and that's a lot of Ultras. Like I said, even though at one point the supplies were doubled, White Raw really can't do a whole lot right now. And Leslie is in a good position literally to just continue to max out like this and just keep pushing. 192 to 105 the supply right now. Or wow, 162 to 105 the supply. I am sorry, my god, I can't keep anything straight today. White Raw just being pesky with these DTs, but again, I don't think it's going to be enough. The Banelings are rolling through, but also doing a fair shot on all of the DTs. And then the detection comes in. White Raw going to try and morph in a couple of Archons, but not going to be able to do a whole lot, especially when your opponent's going fucking Ultralisks. I don't know whether these are the Manor Changelings or not, but this next cannon does not have enough DPS to continue to push through here. And eventually White Raw, you're running out of units, White Raw. You're mined out, White Raw. Your fourth base isn't going to be so hot, White Raw. And you can hear the obscenely loud car outside trying to start. And yeah, just some last-ditch effort work by White Raw, and the GG comes out. So MYMLeslie, meet your maker, Leslie, that's what that stands for. Taking game number 1 on the ladder, game 1 on the ladder, oh god. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked what you saw, subscribe, comment, and like, and we will see you guys next time.